Welcome to Monday afternoon and welcome to Tea and Training. This is where we sit down together over a cup of tea. I've got English breakfast here and we do a little bit of training, and today is actually the last episode of Tea and Training for the year. So we're going to talk all about Christmas and closing the office over Christmas. So I want to talk to you about a few things. For me, when I owned my rent roll, it was the only time of year that I completely shut off. And so that's why Christmas was such an important time for me to be able to close the office. So we're going to step through 4 steps you can take to be able to close your office this Christmas, and also give you a letter template, which is linked above. And I'm also going to talk you through a strategy with your tradespeople as well, that you might already be doing, but you also might not be. So we'll talk that through as well. But before we get started, if you're joining me live, I want you to type in the comment section below and let me know if you are joining me for a cup of tea, or if it's just about lunchtime, so you might be not doing the tea, you might be doing lunch. So comment below, let me know what you're drinking. And we will get started on today's training. So we're going to talk through the 4 steps with closing your office. And by closing the office, I mean no one even on call. No one in the office. Office front door is closed. No one's on call. We've got an actual time off, like everybody's turned off. So let's talk it through. The first step really is to let your clients know first. That's the trick. You've got to let them know. So this means doing a few different things. This means having conversations with every single landlord, every single tenant, as you're talking to them in the weeks leading up to Christmas, just to let them know we're closing on the 23rd, we're going to be reopening on the 6th, whatever your dates are. So making sure that every single conversation that you're having, you're ending it with, just so you know, we're going to be closed for this period, and letting them know what happens during that period. The other thing that I would be looking at doing is updating your email signature, so that you've got something in your signature to remind people of when you're going to be closed, when you're going to be offline, just so that you're constantly reminding people. Now, I also would send a letter to my tenants to let them know. You could send a similar letter to your landlords as well. Not letter, email, you know what I mean. Now, I've linked above in the description above the actual letter. You can download that letter for yourself if you want to use that, and that teaches the tenants what they're supposed to do in the event of an emergency, and also what constitutes an emergency. So my letter linked above was for New South Wales. My office was in New South Wales. So you might want to actually go through your local state's lease agreement and go in and actually list everything that constitutes an emergency, and then list all of your tradespeople who are going to be on call and available over that time. And also consider listing like the SES as well, especially when we're in a season like we are at the moment where we're dealing with natural disasters. Pardon me. You want to make sure that people are aware of who they call in the event of a serious natural disaster as well. And of course, if you're on Facebook watching the news, whatever, you'll be aware of what's going on as well. So download that letter if you need something to send to your tenants. It's linked above. And then I would also be organising your tradespeople. Now, you might do this before or after sending the letter above. So make sure that you call all of your tradespeople to find out who is going to be available over the Christmas period, so that you can list those people on your letter, and so that you can list those people on your website and that sort of thing. Excuse me. Welcome to live video. So make sure that you're having those conversations. Now, I actually used to send a letter to my tradespeople when we first brought them on, and when we decided that they were going to be core tradespeople. So if they were the sort of 2 or 3 electricians, plumbers, handyman, those sorts of people, especially if they were people who were listed as emergency contacts. Hi Tara. Thanks for being here. So I actually sent a little letter to my tradespeople telling them what they are to do in the event of being called after hours or for an emergency or over the Christmas break. So what it basically said was, if you get called by one of our tenants and if they are asking you to attend their property, to attend to an emergency, here is the list of what actually constitutes an emergency. If it falls into these categories, yes, you're allowed to go. Yes, you're allowed to attend to them, and yes, you will be paid by us. So it kind of was like a way of giving them a letter that stands in place of a work order. So, and I think I actually said that in the letter. It would actually say, in these events, you're not going to get a work order from us until we get back to the office. So this letter acts in its place. So know that if you go out and you go to any of these particular items that constitute an emergency, you're protected by us. We will support that decision. We will pay you, and please go and do it. We really appreciate you attending to after hours emergencies. So I would give that to my tradespeople as well, just so that they had something kind of to protect them, because you know how tradespeople form part of our team. So we want them to feel as though they are protected by us and that we will support decisions that they make, especially because they're qualified to make decisions about emergency repairs and maintenance that we're not really qualified to make. We don't know if, you know, if the PowerPoint is actually throwing sparks. We don't know if, you know, the main is actually burst. We're not there. He or she is. So make sure that they've got a little bit of cover and support as well. So you can send them something as well. Then the third step, after you have notified your tenants and notified your tradespeople or set up your tradespeople, the third step is to change your voicemail message. So whether this is on your mobile or whether this is on your office number, make sure that you update your voicemail message. And you can even look at doing a little bit of an update in the lead up to Christmas as well. So if you use your mobile, or if you're given a mobile phone for work, then seriously consider on Friday afternoons changing your voicemail to tell people what to do in the event of an emergency over the weekend, so that we're starting to educate people. This can be something you can do year round. You don't have to restrict this just to Christmas, but this can be a really great way of educating people in the lead up to Christmas, so that when you change it over Christmas and you're actually not checking your voicemails for a week, then they're not as surprised. So make sure that you're changing that, and also make sure you change your office voicemail as well, because they should, wherever they're calling the office, they need to get something to tell them that their call is not going to be returned, but this is how to handle an emergency. And then make sure that you're turning your email autoresponder on to do the same sort of thing that a voicemail does, to teach people what to do since you won't be checking your emails on a regular basis. Quite often the easiest thing to do is just to have a very short autoresponder, just saying, you know, something like, I'm not in the office, I'll be back on the 6th of January. In the event of an emergency, click here to view our emergency procedure. And then you can have somewhere on your website that actually lists what constitutes an emergency, what to do in the event of an emergency, and who to call, so that they know how to do it. So they're the 4 steps that you need to take in the lead up to. I want to add a bonus step. This is not something that you can do right now, but this is something that you can do for next year. One of my big pet peeves was having properties come up for lease over Christmas. So one of the things I did was I made sure that I didn't have leases expire in the last well, at all in December, now that I think about it. We didn't have any leases expire in December or for the first 3 weeks of January, so that I didn't have anything for lease over the Christmas break unless it was a break of lease, because that happens. So while you can't fix that for this Christmas, you can fix it for next Christmas. So you can be planning your lease renewal process just that little bit more, so that you're minimizing the number of properties that might come up for lease next year. You can't control the break of leases, that's just the way it goes. But the beautiful thing is, if you've got a tool like Inspect Real Estate or Respond or Eagle Leasing, then you've got a way of responding to the inquiries all throughout the Christmas break, no matter if your office is closed or not. and you can still be collecting those tenant details and scheduling them up for inspections for when you return. Or if you decide to run just one round of open homes over the Christmas break, you don't actually have to be responding to those inquiries. You can use your leasing software to manage that for you, and you just show up for the open homes and run the open home, send out some applications, and you can get straight back to your Christmas break if that's what you decide to do. So hopefully that's a little bit useful as you're in the lead up to the Christmas break. You know what it's like in property management. The key is always communication and having the same conversations again and again and again to the same people. But that's not just property management, that's just human nature, I think, that we have to have the same conversations again and again and again. So hopefully that just helps you prepare that a little bit more. I want to mention checking voicemails and emails very quickly with you. I'm just going to have a sip of this tea while it's still hot. For me, I know that I tend to get a little bit anxious if I don't check my emails for a really extended period of time. But having said that, I will also get anxious when I check my emails all the time. So what I found was I needed to step away from emails for a while because I found that it just intruded into that Christmas break. So I needed to have a good couple of days where I was not on email at all. And it was doing that made me feel like I was having a proper, genuine break. So if that's you, then I encourage you to do that. Turn your emails off on your phone. Actually, start the practice now. Turn your emails off at night and turn your emails off on the weekends so that you're in the practice of not seeing your emails over, like outside of business hours. And then when you go into the Christmas break, it won't seem quite so bad. So for me, I need to have a good couple of days, no emails. And if that is you, please do that. Delete the email app off your phone for a couple of days. If that's what it takes to have you step away from your business, from your portfolio for a little bit of time, then just do that for just a couple of days. They'll be waiting for you when you get back and you can deal with it then. So for me, that's something I had to do. I just had to turn it off. So I actually would go into the settings on my phone and turn off the email so that even if I went into the email app, they weren't there. So that was something that I had to do just to survive that Christmas break and to force me to actually take time off. Now, if you're taking some time off, I want to encourage you to do a few things for yourself over the Christmas break. For me, that means reading a fiction novel. So all through the year, I spend reading non-fiction and listening to business books and looking at growth and all of those sorts of non-fiction topics. But over Christmas, that's when I read a non-fiction book. So I want to hear from you. If you've joined me all the way to the end of this video, I want you to comment below and let me know, what is your Christmas break indulgence? For me, it's usually a Jodi Picoult novel. That's what I love. But I want to hear from you. Pop in the comments below, what's the thing you do over Christmas or over those public holidays that are just for you, that you have as your way of winding down after such a big year and before another massive year ahead. So drop it in the comments below. If you stayed all the way to the end of this video, let me know what your indulgence is going to be over the Christmas break. And if you need that template for what to send your tenants, I've popped it in the description above. So I hope those 4 steps were really useful for you. Comment below and let me know which step you have already put in place. And I hope that you're planning a wonderful break over Christmas, even if you only have the public holidays. I hope that they are restorative and that you feel refreshed and renewed and you come back into the new year, the new decade, how about that? That you come back into the new decade feeling refreshed and renewed and just totally ready to go. This is the last tea and training for the year, but I will see you in the new year for another tea and training. Bye for now.